So on Thursday, I went and picked up NASCAR 21 Ignition on the Xbox, and I'm playing it on the Xbox Series X right now. So I had a few things I wanted to say because there's been some controversy regarding the release of this game on social media, so I wanted to kind of go through it. Now, playing the game, the pros I'll mention first of all is the car handling is very smooth and very fluid. And it's much like any other NASCAR game I've played. Once you start off, the race, the car is handling very well. As you put more laps in, get some more wear in the tires, the handling gets a little bit more looser, a little bit more loose, a little bit more loose as you keep on going. So, as to be expected, that same type of characteristic shines through. It's not so much that they refine that or anything. I mean, it just feels like any other NASCAR game as far as how the car handles and how it drives. So I thought that as far as that goes, it was great. The graphics are fantastic. This is built on Unreal Engine 4. So as far as the car, as far as the pavement, as far as the wall, a lot of that stuff. The graphics are really well rendered and set up how they are. I thought the human characters were a little basic, but I mean, for a game where 98% of the entire gameplay is going to be either behind a car or inside of a car, I guess you really don't have to pay much attention to the humans and that kind of thing. So I thought that it was decent. So for context, the last NASCAR game that I've owned is NASCAR 08 on 360. I haven't played any of the Heat games that came after the EA franchise expired, so I can't really speak on those. But as far as comparing this to the EA games, which I have almost all of them on original Xbox and the 360, I'd have to say that the audio is mind-blowingly more improved as far as that goes. Like the car engine, I haven't heard a realistic sounding engine like this before.
You're in the middle here, 3 wide. Got one left. Clear all around. You're up top. Got one left.
Realism of the engine as you're driving, the performance of the engine and how it sounds, it was just really truly realistic. So I thought that was pretty cool. I thought the pit stop animation, the whole pit stop sequence is really cool. Especially the camera angle where the guy is changing the tire. I thought that was pretty cool. That was kind of weird that the random guy just comes out and starts beating the door with the hammer, because I'm like, the damage is on the hood, fool. You need to be beating the hood with the hammer, not the door. So I wasn't really sure what was up with that, but I did think it was kind of cool though that has a guy beating the car with a hammer, because with the EA games, the car just magically, like, all the dents disappear. And so I thought it was kind of cool that they had that. As far as things I'll nitpick about, like what others have said, it would be really nice to have a rear view mirror. I mean, no matter what, if you're in chase mode, if you're on hood, if you're in the cockpit, no matter what view you're on, there is no rear view mirror. And so it's kind of annoying to try to figure out where are the people behind me. You have to actually flip the camera to where you can see behind you to see where the people are behind you. Another thing that I would nitpick is it would be nice to have a map of the track in the display. Most notably for road courses and for tracks like Phoenix, where Phoenix is kind of a weird shaped track. When I was putting in laps on Phoenix, I was like, where the heck is the start finish line? Well, where am I? Am I in corner 1? Am I in corner 3? It got really hard to tell where I'm at as I'm going, because of the dog leg just really throws everything off, because you're used to a track having 4 corners, and with that it adds kind of a 5th. And then the dog leg and 1 and 4 kind of all blend together, so it's kind of hard to know where you're at unless you're paying specific attention to there's a start finish line. So if there was a map, that would be greatly beneficial. And no matter what, where you're positioning your view, there was no map. Another thing that I thought would be really cool is the display on the screen as far as the timing of everything. I thought was kind of weird, because it's like, what I want to know is, where am I in position of second place, third place, fourth place, or the people around me in position. But the track was showing me the times of the people around me physically. So I was like, I couldn't care less how many seconds ahead or behind this guy that I'm just passing is, because it's irrelevant. Especially if I'm coming up on lap traffic, it's even further irrelevant. But I want to know how many seconds behind, I mean, especially when I was racing clean in first position, I want to know how many seconds behind is second place. I want to know if I pit, how many people are going to be passing me while I'm pitting. Because like with the EA games, I could be like, okay, this guy is 13 seconds behind me, the next guy is 13 and a half, the next guy is 14, so on and so forth. So I can deduct how long does it take to do a pit, roughly about 35 seconds. How many people are going to lap me while I'm in the pit? And I can sit there and count how many people are behind me up to 35 seconds. And then I know as soon as I come out of the pit, I'm going to have to contend with, maybe 12 people try to gain my position back. But the way that the times are set up on Ignition is like, I don't have any idea where the next guy is. I don't know if he's 3 seconds behind me, if he's 3 laps behind me. I don't have any idea. The way that the times were set up, I just felt like was somewhat cumbersome, and I wasn't really a fan of that. So I will say that as far as the game goes, I see that there's a lot of potential here. And I know that they've released several bug fixes this week, squashing several bugs and doing this, that, and the other. As far as from a playability standpoint, I haven't noticed any problems. I just jumped right in, was able to race, was able to do good and that kind of thing. So I didn't notice any problem. I feel like the difficulty may be a touch bit easy, because like for the races I recorded with this video, I had the difficulty set to veteran, and I'm still like lapping the second place. So I don't know if I'm just super aggressive when it comes to driving, or if, as I said, there is a difficulty issue. So I think that they could tune up the difficulty just a little bit. If I have it on veteran, I should feel like that I'm having to scrap and scrape and earn my victory, instead of just laying down the throttle and just lapping everybody. Now, another thing I'll mention is, I know with the most recent EA games, you had the option to play the Camping World Series, you had the option to play the Xfinity Series, even with, which one was it? Was it Total Team Control, where you actually start off in the wheeling and you're racing those? I thought that was pretty cool. So I thought that with those games it was really cool, because there were several different disciplines of the NASCAR circuit that you could work on and you could do. And especially with career mode, as I said, I think it was Total Team Control, which was, NASCAR 06, I think, where the career mode, you start off in the Wheeling Series, and you work your way through that, and then after you prove yourself good and get several contracts, at that point, then you move on to the Truck Series, and then after that, you moved on to the Nationwide Series, and after that, you moved on to the Sprint Cup Series. So I thought it was kind of cool how you basically had to prove yourself on the different levels before you graduate to the next level. But with NASCAR 21 Ignition, it's just strictly Cup racing. So there is no Xfinity, there's no Camping World, there's no ARCA, there's none of that. It's just strictly just Cup, and that's it. So it's the Premier League, which is fine if you just want to jump in and play, as Chase Elliott or something like that. But if you're wanting to play the trucks, or if you're wanting to play the Xfinity, then this has none of that there for you. Another thing that I saw some complaints on were people were saying that they didn't like the fact that stages weren't in the game. Me personally, I thought the stages were stupid to begin with. So I'm okay with the stages not being in the game. I realize it's not realistic to the actual state of the sport as it is right now. But honestly, NASCAR was idiotic for putting stages in the racing to begin with. So the fact that you can just go out there and do 500 clear laps without having to stop and recalibrate and all this other nonsense, I think it works out better from a video game standpoint. But I I imagine at some point, probably the first major update, they'll probably add stages, I would assume, because there's remnants in the game of there being stages, because when you're looking at your stats, it actually shows how many stages you've won, but there are no stages. So that stat's just basically empty. But I don't have much else. I just wanted to basically talk about my initial thoughts. I've only played it last night, and I played it today while I was capturing this footage. So I've only put in probably about 3 hours of gameplay. So these are my first initial impressions. But overall, I think the game is strong in the gameplay department. I haven't had any complaints as far as that goes. I haven't had any glitches that just, take me out of the track or magically teleport me to the pits or something like that. So the game has just been functioning and behaving as it should. But there's definitely some things that they can work on and improve on in future patches and releases and that kind of thing. And it'll be really cool to see where they go with 22. If they'll implement any Xfinity or Camping World, or they're, again, just kind of strictly stick with the Cup Series. But I guess that's all. So thanks for watching, and peace out.